let's go ahead and get started. And if more folks jump on, great. They are of course welcome to. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. My name is Andy Shaner. I'm with the Lunar and Planetary Institute in Houston, and I am the principal investigator of what we call Planetary Resources and Content Heroes, or Planetary Reach. And today we want to do some introductions to everybody, and then we'll tell you a little bit more about what Planetary Reach is about and then what we can expect during the workshop in just a few short weeks, and other logistical matters related to the workshop. So let's go ahead and start with introductions, and I'll give that to Alexandra.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Andy. So what we'll do is we'll go around and introduce yourself with your name and your institution. And today's icebreaker is going to be what was your first job? And you can decide for yourself if you want to pick your first paid job, or maybe it was a not paid job, as I've found out doing this game with other people. So just, what's your first job, and if there's a story to go with it, that's fine, but also please keeping in mind that we've got a lot to cover today, and we will have plenty of time to elaborate on our first jobs and the adventures that go with them when we're all together in person in Burbank. So this is really just the start of getting to know each other. So I'll begin, and I think the easiest way to do it is to pick someone that you see that hasn't gone yet to go next. And so I'll begin, and then when I'm done, I will pick the next person to go. So my name is Alexandra Matieja Novak, and I'm a planetary volcanologist at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab. And I'm also a co-I on the Planetary Reach project. And my first job was working at a gas station in, just outside Riverside, California, actually, kind of in the desert. And so it was a gas station convenience store. And it was a really interesting spot to work. And my parents were definitely worried about me, but it gave me a lot of interesting insight into different people and customer service. So next is Andy.
There, my audio control disappeared. So hello again. My name's Andy. As I said, I'm with the Lunar and Planetary Institute in Houston. I'm a senior education specialist there. My first job back in Wichita, Kansas, where I grew up, was at a bus boy, or as our manager called us, dining room attendants at it was a local Italian restaurant. My I was a junior in high school, and the brothers they opened two restaurants. They were immigrants. I think they were immigrants from Lebanon. And when they were opening the restaurant, they had to go through, all kinds of health code and fire code, you know, uh, updates and inspections and stuff. And my dad, who was with the fire department, was the guy who would help them with their fire code inspections and help them make sure they were up to date and stuff like that. And they were always very grateful for him, for how he was able to help them. So they told me one time, it's like, hey, when you want a job, just let us know. So I did, and I got a job. Okay. Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric Franks. I'm out in Los Angeles and have a small business called Sysloon Incorporated, working with NASA on SBIRs and STTRs and since 2021, mostly focused on lunar surface construction and mining. And my first job was at a yeah, what some people know about it called pagers. That's I guess doctors still use, and it was just a little pager stand at a shop in near Austin, Texas. And let's see, next person. How about Caroline Martinez?
Thank you. Okay, Carolina Martinez is my name, and I've been at JPL 24 years. I worked lastly in Mars public engagement and led those efforts, but most recently on a 1-year detail at NASA headquarters, to put together a Spanish language communications plan, which I'm wrapping up that 1 year detail. And this will probably be the end of that detail. So I'm happy to end on a happy note and helping with this workshop. And my first job, so I have this in common with Kamala Harris, I guess, at McDonald's. That was my first job, but then I got a job at In-N-Out Burger, and that was much, much better. And I still love their burgers. I have to pick somebody. Joelle.
Thanks, Carolina. Hi, I am Joelle Lemaire. I am the director for our Center for STEM Teaching and Learning at Northern Arizona University, but I'm also part of the key personnel for the Planetary Reach Project, one of the facilitators for this workshop. Really happy to meet all of you here today. I guess I too have in common with Carolina and Vice President Harris is that I did have a job at McDonald's, but it wasn't my first job. My first job was at I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, and my first job was at a Greek ice cream parlor. And so we sold souvlaki and soft serve ice cream. So go figure. Pretty funny. I don't have everybody, I can't see everybody on my screen, but I do see Katie on my one of my little squares, and I don't think you've gone yet. So Katie, I'm going to volley it to you.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Katie Schenkel. I'm an assistant professor at San Diego State University, and I'm excited to be driving up to LA soon to meet you all. I work in a consulting role with this project supporting the team in their diversity, equity, and inclusion and justice efforts. So I'll be at the workshop just to see what's going on and also help us to continue to get better. So I'm looking forward to learning with you all. My first job was babysitting. So that is a classic thing that back then you could start as a sixth grader in my family. So, and with that, I will pass it over to Rashawn.
Good morning. My name is Rashawn Morris. I'm with the Boys and Girls Club of Burbank, which is where the workshops will be happening. So, hello, you'll see me there. And my first paid job was at Whole Foods Market. Anybody? No one else at Whole Foods? Or a cashier. I was a cashier there. A lot of my family members, that was also their first job because we have an uncle and my dad have worked at Whole Foods for a while. So it's kind of like, if you need a job, go to my dad or my uncle and they'll get you a job. So that was me. I'm going to pass it over to Sarah.
Hello, I'm right down the hallway. So I'm Sarah Abel. I'm from the Boys and Girls Club of Burbank. I'm the STEAM coordinator. We can't wait for you guys to get here. The kids will be so excited. So yes, I'm excited to learn more about what's going on in this meeting. My first job was I worked at a movie theater, and one of the memorable things was it was during the summer of The Notebook. And so every time I had to console people and be like, it's gonna be okay, because everyone would be crying afterwards, and I would be like, everything's okay, but you have to leave. Like I had to kick out crying people. So that was one of my favorite moments. Not favorite, but memorable. All right, let's go with Eric. Is Eric gone?
Yep, I've gone. Maybe
Oh, you've gone.
Maybe Rashawn.
Did everyone go? Let's see.
Sandlin or
Sandlin.
Isabel.
Let's go with Sandlin.
Okay. I'm Sandlin Buxner. I am a senior research scientist and education specialist at the Planetary Science Institute. I'm so excited to get to join you in LA. I'm part of the Reach team, and I love the Boys and Girls Club. I get to work with our Boys and Girls Club here in Tucson all the time, and they're just one of my favorite things. My first job, really paid that I always remember, right? I did in parallel was I worked at a deli near the local university in Denver, where I grew up, and I had to gut the chickens. And yeah, it took me a long time to have to be able to eat chicken after that, because raw chicken and skewering them was really gross, and that's what I did. So, but I think having a service industry job has been really important to my overall development of understanding when I go out. So let's see. Isabel.
Hey everyone. Yeah, my name's Isabel Swafford. I work at Caltech IPAC doing communications and marketing and media relations, all sorts of things there. Yeah, so I'm super excited to be local to this workshop and like making some more connections through this. And then my first job was teaching swim lessons. I was a competitive swimmer growing up, so that was a pretty easy transition to make. Just copying what my coach told me to do. So that was a fun first job. I think, has Catherine gone?
There it goes. No, hello. My name is Catherine Zarilla, and I am a postdoc at JPL, and I'm really excited to be working with this event. I'm really excited to get to know all of you a little bit better. My first job, so I feel like I'm in good company. My first job was also at a McDonald's, but I don't know about you guys, but the McDonald's I worked at was not one of the standalone ones. It was one that was in a Walmart, and so it was a different experience. We saw it just very different people coming in at all hours of the night. It was a fun time. Let's see, who hasn't gone? Kathy Trejo?
Hi everyone, my name is Kathy Trejo. I am a research intern at the Origins and Habitability Lab at JPL. I'm currently completing my master's degree at Cal State LA, and my first job is working as a cashier and server at a mom and pop restaurant. And I guess an interesting fact about that is that I live like 5 minutes down the street from that same spot, so I still see the people that I worked with like over 10 years ago. So pretty happy about where I'm at now, and it's really nice to see progress from where I started. The next person I would call upon is Dylan.
Hello, my name is Dylan Krischer. I use they, he. I work as an external evaluator with McREL International. So you'll see me and we'll talk about that later. But my first official job was actually as a grocery bagger at a place called Main Street Market. Although I think our official job title was courtesy clerk. And it was very much the default expected thing that anytime anyone came through, you carried the groceries out to the car. And it was only when they did not want you to that you didn't do that. That was the specific thing that we did. So, and then I believe lastly, I see Yolanda.
Hello, everybody. Hi, can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear anybody say yes. I'm Yolanda. Hold on, I'll show you my picture. Is that me? Okay, I'm Yolanda D. Ballard, and I support the education team for the Lunar and Planetary Institute. I work closely with Christine Schubler and Andy Shaner in a supporting role. Trying to pick up on where I got in. I apologize for being late. My very first job was at a Jack in the Box. My mom was actually I was right out of high school, and my mom was trying to introduce me to the assistant manager at the time. He looked just like Denzel Washington. Anyway, so I I learned a whole lot about listening, customer service, and a lot of things about finance in that position, in that role. An icebreaker, that is my icebreaker. I don't have anything. But yeah, I'm in a supporting role in the education department at LPI with Andy and Christine. Am I supposed to pick someone else?
I think that's everybody.
I think
Okay.
that's it. Yeah. And Yolanda, no, you did the icebreaker. The icebreaker is what was your first job. So thanks for sharing that. And I love the vision of trying to interview with somebody that looks like Denzel Washington. That must have been very distracting. So that's great. Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. That was fantastic. I took notes. I definitely have some follow-up questions for some of you. And when we when we meet in person, especially the trying to kick crying people out of the movie theater. That sounds like a great little memory to have. But yeah, looking forward to meeting with you all in person and working on this important project that we're doing. And I will go ahead and hand it back over to Andy. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much, Alexandria. Thanks everyone for the intros. But yeah, let's just keep going. So they mentioned, so we'll start off talking about what the motivation is behind Planetary Reach, why the program existed, why we proposed for the program. This is almost over 4 years ago now. And in general, what we're trying to do is create a model for these workshops, and we'll say a little more about that as well. And then we'll get into talking about the workshop itself, kind of what you can expect to see or do over the 3 days, and some specific logistics for it. Alexander, do you want to take this one, or you want me to just keep going?
No, I'll take this one. I think this is a good point to introduce something that we're gonna come up on, throughout the workshop about like, why are we doing this? Why are we here? This is, what is our motivation? And so for us on the Planetary Reach team, myself included, I'm a Chicana, I'm Mexican American. And so I am one of the, I am of the group that is underrepresented in the planetary sciences. And we see from this graph in front of us that, there's a lot of underrepresentation in the planetary sciences. And so our work is to increase that representation, also to show everyone, including the people that we're trying to inspire, that there is currently some representation. So also, highlighting the representation that does currently exist within the planetary science community, and thereby, possibly inspiring the next generation and continuing to increase the representation. And so one thing we're gonna remind you all a lot about is that this is our motivation, and these are the communities that we're focused on working with, both from an issue of representation, but also an issue of like fairness and equity, and making sure that these communities have the same access to the cool science that we're going to be talking about, that all communities have as well. But we are going to be talking about strategies during the workshop that are specific to Black and Latine audiences. But we're also going to be talking a lot about building relationships with communities that work with these audiences. And so what we really want to make sure and emphasize is our goal is to not, and our motivation is not to come up with a checklist of like how to engage specific audiences. Our goal is to talk about how we can build relationships with these communities, working with these communities that will help us get to know them better, so that we do know specifically what strategies we should be used to engaging them. And that our reason, our motivation for engaging Black and Latine audiences specifically is because of this underrepresentation and the inequality to access that these communities experience. So hopefully, that kind of sets the stage a little bit about what we're going to be talking about and the information that we're going to be sharing. And yeah, we can all work together to try and move this graph, the bars do you see on this graph, a little bit more to the right, where it should be, right? So yeah, I think that kind of sums up everything. But of course, we'll have opportunity to talk about this more during the workshop as well. Andy, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thanks, Alexandra. In addition, so what Alexandra was talking about addresses the communities, the audiences that we work with. The reason for the workshop aspect of it was a needs assessment that was done. Actually, Sandlin helped lead this survey a few years ago, where we surveyed, well, not scientists who are funded by NASA's Science Mission Directorate in all 4 of its divisions, so planetary science, heliophysics, astrophysics, neuroscience. And this one question where they asked, what topics are of interest to them for outreach training. It was a survey specifically about them doing outreach and barriers to outreach. And one of the most commonly selected topic of interest was for learning about ways to effectively engage with different underserved audiences. There was a multiple, they could choose multiple things in that answer, but that was the one that was chosen the most. What's going on here? There. So as I mentioned, we're doing these workshops, various locations across the country, and utilizing the feedback we get from them throughout, like Dylan will talk to you about. We are trying to take all this information and create a model for for people who might want to do this type of workshops later. So our funding for this program is up at the end of next year, so December 2025. So at the end of that time, we hope to have this model that we can share that will help other people put together similar types of workshops. It's not specific to the content. I mean, we chose planetary science because LPI was leading up the proposal, and pretty much everybody on our team are all involved in planetary scientists, educators. But we recognize that a lot of what we talk about, everything we talk about, it's not specific to any one discipline. That's just what is specific that we do talk about, I'll say, is when we talk about do hands-on activities and the possible hands-on activities that we may do during the event on the third day of the workshop. That's really where we get specific to planetary science. So workshop was over 3 days. The first 2 days are discussions, and as I mentioned, hands-on activities. Discussions surrounding, as Alexandra mentioned, partnerships, the importance of partnering with communities, celebrating identity, and looking at and exploring bias and how those two things come into play when we interact with people. And also, I always forget the third one. Go back up here. That doesn't help. Identity and bias, partnerships. Oh, and authentic approaches. So thinking about when you're working with communities, not thinking about what do they not know, but understanding what they do know. And that all starts with working with your community partners. We will have materials there for activities for you all to experience during the workshop. If you have an activity that you've done before that you would like to share so other folks can see, please feel free to bring that as well. Then the public event is on the third day, right? And that's everybody involved in the workshop. It's for everyone. The workshop, those 2 days plus the day of the event, will all be at the Boys and Girls Club there in Burbank, as Rashawn mentioned. The public event will be on the afternoon of the third day. And that gives workshop participants, it gives you all a chance to now practice what we just talked about during the workshop. And the main folks here are SMEs or subject matter experts. And then folks who are out of school time educators or maybe informal educators may have heard that term before as well. I'll just mention real quickly. So the workshop this Venn diagram is trying to illustrate kind of the content. It's a little bit of DEIA, it's a little bit of planetary science, it's a little bit about doing outreach. But the workshop, it's not any one of these wholly. It's kind of all three in pieces. Just a quick overview. Day one, we talk about valuing identities and exploring bias, building relationships and authentic partnerships. Day two, we'll talk about authentic approaches to learning. And then we'll also spend time on day two talking about or planning for the event that we're going to do the next day. And that includes deciding which activities we want to do. The end of day two, there'll be a focus group. And I think the next slide is for Dylan to talk more about that. And then after the event on day three, we'll clean up, and then we'll have another debrief. One thing I'm going to mention before I forget, because I think I forgot to put a bullet somewhere about this in the slides. At the Boys and Girls Club, every evening after we're done, groups will be going in, and we'll be in the gymnasium there at the club. And in the evenings, groups will be going in and playing basketball. So we'll have to clean up tables and chairs every evening at the end of the workshop, and just move them to a side room. So I'm just going to put it out there right now. Any help you all can give us in doing that would be much, much appreciated. So I think Dylan, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Andy. Yes, as I said before, so I'm part of an external evaluation team. And really what we do is to provide continuous development support for the development of the workshop. And all of the feedback that you would be giving us would be anonymous. We are in no way evaluating you as participants of the workshop. It's just to get feedback for the development of the workshop. So you will receive a consent form as well as different surveys through Qualtrics. And it will look like it comes from my email that you can see up there. So there will be the consent form that I will send out before we actually get to the workshop itself. There are 3 separate surveys, one that will happen at the end of day 1, so that we could use that to give some feedback for the facilitators to use for day 2. And then there will be a survey directly after the engagement event on the 3rd day. And then we also do a 6-month follow-up survey. And then the focus groups, we do that at the end of day 2, just to get some more feedback about how the workshop has been going. And all of that feedback is anonymous and is just used to support the development of the workshop. So. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Dylan. So here are the objectives and outcomes we have for the workshop. We've been working on these from the very beginning. They're actually pared down a little bit by what we used to have. But by the way, this slideshow, in addition to these slides, in addition to the recording of this webinar, will be available to everybody. It'll be in a Google folder I'll share, so you can go back and look at all these things later. So I'm not going to go in through these one by one, but just remind everybody to come prepared to talk. Okay, share your expertise, your experiences. Come prepared to reflect. We have lots of time built in to think about things and reflect and talk with each other, and then learn and grow together. So in terms of the expectations of during the workshop, in terms of roles of people who will be there. So as participants, the scientists, our school educators, we want you to bring your voice, your experience, your expertise. Really talk about, particularly within the context of doing outreach. So if you're a scientist who's done outreach, doesn't matter the audiences, we want to hear from it. What have those experiences been like? And then how might they compare? Let's just go in extremes here. Let's say you've never done outreach with a Black or Latinx community before. How do you think that might be different compared to what you've done in the past? After we've had some conversations, our school time educators, you're the folks who are working with these communities every day. It's your job, it's your experience, and it's your expertise. So we really want to learn from you. And as we prepare to not only do the event on the 3rd day, but also after the workshop, when you all go back out into the world. And another thing is by having the subject matter experts there, and everybody's local, which is great, along with the local out of school time educators, we are also helping you all to start forming your own partnerships and collaborations during the workshop. So hopefully after the workshop is over, you all can continue to stay in touch and work together to do more outreach as it's appropriate. Facilitators like myself, Joelle and Sandlin and Alexandra, we are there to help guide the conversation, right? We'll have prompts of the discussions that we'll be having, But we're not there to be experts. We're there to help guide the conversation. As such, it's a bit of a learner-centered approach to the workshop. You all can talk, and the direction the conversation may go will depend on the conversations you have together as with a partner or with a group or whatever. And so we're not there to tell you to stop unless it's completely outside of the the scope of what we're there for. Um, and like Alexander mentioned before, there's no checklist. We're not going to give you a checklist here of what you can do to engage with these audiences. It all just starts with having relationships with them and things to think about as you make that journey. Salem, I'll let you talk about this or you and Katie, if you want to, because you been working the most on the strategies document.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to share today, I hope. Andy, can we share it today?
Sure.
A strategies document, and it is a real-time strategies document. So it was made with our whole team. Katie helped us, and it's a living document, and it matches the exact same cycles that we're going to go through in the workshop. And it's real-time strategy. So if you're like, I don't even know where to start, we're going to make some recommendations and say, hey, when you go and work with some kids and youth at the Boys and Girls Club, we want you to think about trying one of these out, right? And so it might be about how you use questioning, or it might be how you think about things. And we're going to use this document. So we're going to share it right now. And what I want you to notice is we have some key questions. We have some recommendations, and then we have some blank space. And that blank space is for you to fill in your own thoughts because it's a living document. And so we have continually updated it with our partners and our participants. And so we just want you to know that that's what it is. You'll notice that for the partnerships, there are not as many things because partnerships are much more long-term things. But we're really thinking about things that we can try out in our public event, and we're going to be talking about. So that's what we want you to know. It's a strategy document. It has some great literature behind it and some extra reading. It's not meant to be, reading someone's master's thesis. We just want you to know lots of people have contributed to it, and we want to have it as a tool for reflection and for ways that we can think about what we might want to enact.
Thank you, Salem. So yeah, I'll share it with you. I'll drop it in that Google Drive folder and then share the link with everyone. We'll also have a hard copy of it there at the workshop. Just real quick, during the workshop, we'll refer to something called series, which is just kind of a framework. It's for how we frame the workshop and how we put it together. And it's designed or inspired by design thinking. It's originally came out of a workshop we did in Miami last summer. And we've modified it since then and used it a few different times and looks a little different. But it's not only a way for us as we plan our workshops, how we think about putting them together. It's also something that you can take with you, and we'll have a printout of this there as well, as a way to help you think about, again, working with communities, the community there in the series acronym: community, empathy, relensify, engagement, and self-reflection. It's also a guide to help you think about making this working with communities, Black and Latinx communities, a way to think about working with them and what to think about as you're doing it, going through that process. We'll say more about it then. We just wanted to bring it up here to make you aware. One of our other, somebody else who participated in our very first workshop at Arizona State a couple of years ago, she's done a couple of abstracts about this, and she's done a lot of work with some of our team members to kind of solidify this and mold this into what it is now. And that's a QR code to a conference abstract that Corinne had, I think, just this last spring about series. Okay, so both first 2 days of the workshop, 24th and 25th, we will begin at 9 a.m. and we'll wrap up by 5 o'clock. We do have breaks, including a lunch scheduled, and we'll say a little bit more about lunch here, and I think maybe the next slide. The September 26th, the day of the event, we will meet back at the Boys and Girls Club at 2:30. We'll spend an hour setting up, getting ready. We'll then have the event itself from 3:30 to 5:30, which aligns with after school time for the members of the club. And then at 5:30, we'll wrap up and clean up and get stuff put away and have a final conversation with the evaluators. And again, both the first 2 days of the workshop discussions and then the event on day 3 will all be there at the Boys and Girls Club of Burbank. So when we get there both days, we'll be there before the club is actually open. And we ask you folk, be there by, you can 8:30 or later, but definitely be there by 9 and be ready to go. So just looking down on Google Maps, the club is right there in the middle where that orange dot is with the arrow pointing to it. That street that runs, I don't know if you all can you see my arrow? Or the
Yeah.
map? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this street here, this is Angelo Avenue. Right here, immediately across the street from the club is a parking garage, which is part of the Burbank courthouse. That's right next to. There is parking available. I think it's. I'll need
The third floor
to jump in. It's on the
Yeah,
top
the third floor. The third floor.
Third floor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's public parking available up there. There is some on the street. There is not any in the lot there for the club. But there are options right there, very nearby. So you'll want to come in that door there on Angelino Avenue, and one of the facilitators will be there to greet you and direct you to the gym where we'll be for the workshop.
Yeah, we have two doors, but the door that is like you said, on Angelino, facing Angelino, that's where our membership department is that will welcome folks in, and that's like straight to the gym. And then if you get confused, there's another door that is our it'll say like Warner Brothers. It's our performing arts center. Just know you have to go to the other door. So you'll see two doors there, but there is a front entrance on Angelino.
Right. Thank you, Rashawn. Yeah, and we can make sure one of us is just kind of standing out there too, as folks come in. So don't worry, we'll get you where you need to be. So that's for day 1 and 2. And I'm assuming probably for day 3 as well, Angelina, right? Just come in those same doors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so day 3, excuse me. This is our event. It's the opportunity to first practice or implement these strategies where everybody gets to contribute. And then, as I said, just I guess a couple of slides ago, we'll arrive about 2:30 to set up. The event will follow for a couple of hours. We'll clean up and then have a quick debrief with the evaluators. All right, I mentioned parking already. So right there is some there on the street, a lot more there on the 3rd floor of the garage across the street. And it's all pay parking, unfortunately. All right, lunch. So if on this map, the Boys and Girls Club is there towards the center right with the blue balloon, and you can see the orangish, reddish colored dots. Those everything around that's all places to eat. It's all relatively nearby. In this slide, if you go back and look at it later, that link at the top will take you to this map, the Google map. Folks at JPL we're working with put together a great list that has names and distances to them and more information about the restaurants nearby. If you click on that bottom link, that actually will take you to our folder that I'll be sharing you with everyone that will have information for you all. That list of restaurants is in there, is in that document. Whoa. Okay. So Griffith Observatory is very close by. No, it's not too far away. I don't know if she's on. Laura May Abron, she's a scientist there, and also, sorry?
I am here.
Oh, hey, Laura. Hey, great. I'm glad you can make it.
She's on, sorry, Annie, to interrupt, but I don't think she had a chance to do the introduction as well. So maybe
go ahead. Yeah,
you could do that really quick. So Laura, earlier we introduced ourselves to each other and we said our name and our institution and what our first job was. So maybe you could do that to start off.
So I have lost my voice, unfortunately, which is why it's very difficult for me to interact with you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Laura, perhaps you could just type it in the chat. This is Joelle. Hi, bienvenue.
So I'll just go and say that Laura May, like I said, she's at Griffith. And I've been chatting with her about the possibility of just having everyone just meet up sometime after the workshop on Tuesday, after we've had a chance to eat. And at the very least, just observing that they do out front. We'll pass on more information about that, but I just wanted to get it out there for you all to know. And I see that Bryce is also with us. Hi, Bryce. You want to introduce yourself? You can go ahead and turn on your mic. Oh, okay. Oh, no worries. I guess, like I said, if both you and Laura may want to, just you could put in the chat box, just say hi, uh, who you're with, your institution, and then just what was your first job? And it could be paying or volunteer, whatever it was. What do you consider your first job to have been? That was something we all did at the start. So welcome, Bryce and Laura May. Okay. Right, Alexandra.
All right. So we want to make sure everyone, thank you, Bryce. It looks like or Laura. Okay, you wrote something in the chat. So as I'm talking about this, take a chance to read her introduction there. So we want to make sure everyone feels healthy and safe during the meeting. We understand that COVID is still out there in addition to a lot of other contagious illnesses. So we are very much supportive of people who choose to wear a mask during the workshop. And if you have any concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is right there. And then Andy, I think the next slide also goes into, yes. So, other reasons to contact me when you fill out your workshop participant information, we'll ask you about dietary restrictions or anything like that that we need to be made aware of, or any other kinds of needs that you might need us to be aware of during the workshop. Please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email and my phone number are there. I will be the accessibility contact. So if there's something specific or a question you have, feel free to reach out to me. I would, for the phone number, text before you call, because I don't usually answer numbers if I don't recognize them. So if you text me first to give me a heads up, I will definitely make sure I'm available to answer your phone call. Also, we heard from Dylan earlier, one of our evaluators, if there's ever an issue or a need, something that you need addressed during the workshop, and you don't feel like it's something you can bring to me or one of the other facilitators, Dylan and Dylan, who else is going to be there facilitating with you? Is there going to be
Jeanette will be there as well.
Jeanette. Okay, so Dylan and Jeanette will be your resources if you want to keep it anonymous or if you just want to keep it part of the broader workshop feedback, and it doesn't need to be something specifically acted upon at the moment. Either way, please feel comfortable reaching out to them in those situations. But yeah, I think that's all that we have for there. Just to make sure that you all know that we are very open and willing to make sure that we make this a safe and positive experience for everybody.
There. Right. Thank you, Alexandra. One more, just a couple of reminders here, and then we'll turn it over, see if anybody has any questions. When I sent you your acceptance email for the workshop, there was kind of a lot there. But one of the things was a link to another Google form, another survey that we'd like everyone to fill out. It just gives us a little more information that we need uh, for a workshop planning as we wrap up our planning. Also, if you are able to accept a stipend, which as far as I know, most people are, there's also a link in that email to a form that we do need you to fill out. It's a different form that we need you to fill out before the workshop, so we can make sure we get you the stipend following the workshop. So take a look for that email that I sent you. I will send out another email this week with some reminders, but I just wanted to put that here. And then, so again, if you are able to accept the stipend, there's a separate form also. It's an online form, just like a basic, name and address, and a few other items that we'll need you to complete so we can get you a stipend after the workshop. All right. So with that, just wondering if there are any questions. Anybody thinking, wow, what did I just agree to do? No? Okay.
It'll be nice for y'all to be at our club, so that'll be nice. I haven't done anything like this before, so glad to be a part of these focus groups that will hopefully make an impact, going forward for everyone in the work that they do.
Yeah, I had a chance to go out and visit the club about a month ago. It's great. They got some really great stuff going on there at your club. I'm glad we're able to work with you guys. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And as many as well, not that we've done a million of these workshops, but I mean we've done quite a few now. But I mean we're always learning something each time. I mean it's never the same old same old. Okay. Well, any of my any other reach folks, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I do, Andy. It's Joelle.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Rashawn, thank you so much for your partnership and for being our host for the upcoming workshop. And I just wanted to say that I'm really looking forward to working with all of you in 2 weeks. I can't believe it's just 2 weeks away. I know that everyone brings a lot of expertise and your own lived experiences, as Alexandra had said earlier in the conversation, to this space. And so just really want to encourage you to think about some of the experiences that you've had with outreach, some things that you'd like to learn. And the way I look at these workshops is it is an opportunity for all of us to polish this. I tripped over my words. To polish the stone, so to speak. Woof, got that out. So that, we all have some things that we do well. We all have some things that we can learn from each other. And there's always some things that I know I'd like to learn and get better at. And so I'm really looking forward to learning with you and from you in the next couple of weeks. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you all. Appreciate it. Just reminders, this is being recorded. I will send out a link to it once it's ready on YouTube, and also share the link to the folder where we'll start dropping things for everybody that you can see ahead of time. Once we have our agenda a little more finalized, I mean, we know what we're doing, but once we have the agenda finalized on paper anyway, I'll drop that in that folder as well for you all to see. I'll also be putting the strategies document that Salen chatted about, and then these slides that we saw today will also be there in that folder. I will send the link to the email I have for you. If it's not a Gmail link and you would prefer that, or you just need request to access, just let me know and I'll okay that as soon as I can. So thank you again, everyone, and we will see you and chat with you again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, Andy.
Bye.